Why people call me the bad boy rodeo? I think it's just because, like, I don't really care if somebody doesn't like me. I don't really care if somebody doesn't like what I say. You know, I kind of do whatever I want in the arena.
Here we go, Rocker. Welcome to the rock star, the wild man from Texas. Oh, yeah, he's talking.
Mamas, you better know where your daughters are.
Of course he's the bad boy of rodeo.
People go, now how did he get this bad boy moniker? Have you not seen what's been going on around here?
He's very polarizing. Half the people love him to death and are rooting for him. The other half are maybe a little jealous.
The best word to describe Rocker is loud. And I don't necessarily mean with his voice, I mean with his emotions.
That long-haired wild man is not scared of the devil himself.
You know, he wears red. He's incredibly exciting to watch, and the crowd goes crazy. They will not cheer louder during a rodeo than they do when Rocker Steiner gets on. And it's just him. He's a movie star. He says things to entice, he says things to shock.
What's up, all right?
I don't show up for second place. Yeah, I mean, of course there's more I can want. A few more points would be cool, but
I hope they like that shit.
Rocker is both a controversial figure and a beloved figure. You know, those of us on the social webs, we have fun just fighting for him or fighting against him. You're Team Rocker or you're not Team Rocker, never the twain shall meet.
He wants to be that guy that they are creating. He's a different guy in the arena than out of the arena. He's just that competitive guy that loves people. The other side of Rocker Steiner is when he comes in here and hugs around on you, that's the side that Rocker will show no one else. He's the guy that wants you to love him, and he wants to love you back. And look, that's not the tough guy, that's not the bad boy.
I'm perceived as like the cocky, arrogant bad boy, but that's not really who I am. I don't really think people know who I am outside the arena, so I just kind of wanted to show them the real me.
Who is the real you? Who is Rocker Steiner?
Rocker Steiner is a fireball. He's a being that was jetted here from another planet. If you didn't know his family, you'd think he was just an alien, but they're all that way. They are all on fire out there. These are superhuman people in whatever they pursue. The Steiner name is a household staple. These people are visionaries.
That last name of Steiner is legendary in the rodeo world.
So the Texas raised cowboy, third generation.
The Steiners, for generations, rodeo is their, that is their field. That's what they do.
The Steiner legacy in rodeo goes back originally with Buck Steiner, 5 generations back.
My granddad, Buck Steiner, he was involved in really where rodeo came from. I mean, it was more of a Wild West show. It started making a transition, my granddad and my dad. It's just been a part of our history and part of our life. When I was 2 weeks old, I was at a rodeo. 10.5 months of the year, we were going from one rodeo to another. My first heroes were cowboys. It's almost like having a dad that owned a racetrack. You're gonna get in a race car.
I go for the bad boy. Look who I'm married to. He started it all. I mean, when I met Bobby, he had long hair.
Larry Mahan was already the all-around champ and a bull riding champ. He told me, hey, let's grow our hair out. Let's do something different. We were the first 2 guys ever in rodeo that had long hair. We kind of took some here and there's about the way the rodeo business felt about us. It wasn't because we were wanting to antagonize or start anything. It was, we really wanted to let everybody know that, hey, you know what? Anybody can be their self.
My granddad won the world in bull riding in 1973 at 21 years old and then retired.
My wife and I were tired of leaving the kids when they started school. We got out of that and we really never talked about it again.
I never saw my dad compete in the bull riding.
My dad got into bulldogging, and he won the world in 2002.
Sid hit the scene and he rode his Harley out here. He has cornrows. He has big tribal tattoos. He'll take off his shirt in the arena and spin it around his head. And this guy's just off the wall. The whole rodeo cowboy persona is one of deep individuality. People took a look at Sid and went, oh no, now he's just not cowboy.
You got to realize that in the cowboy culture, most everybody is raised to be humble, quiet, reserved, and never boastful. You always have control of your emotions. Somehow in the Steiner legacy, that got thrown out the window way before Rocker.
It's whoever can handle it is going to walk away here with a title. And Sid's got a good pitch. I don't know what's going to happen. 3.3. He's clean. And he's clean at the barrier. He's clean.
He was absolutely against the grain in terms of cowboy tradition. Certainly was going to have long hair and a lot of attitude. To all the stalwart, old school aficionados, this was pretty much unacceptable.
It seems like rodeo kind of wants everybody to fit into the same box and look the same and talk the same and walk the same. And the Steiners, they don't conform to that, and I like that.
They're Steiners, so they're a little different. They're a little brash, and that can ruffle some feathers. But you need it, and it's healthy. You want people that challenge. You want people that, if we're going to continue this for generations beyond, then we have to have people who represent the next generation. The family's always done that. They do it because that's who they are, but they also do it to infuse that energy into rodeo, and it's vital.
I was pretty intense. I was a lot like Sid and a lot like Rocker. So genetically, not everything that people don't like about Rocker can be aimed at him. In this family, we probably try to tone it down a little bit, but I think we're actually double breeding this quality. But hey, we are who we are.
I have one question. Where does the outrageous gene come from?
Man, I don't know. I guess the Steiners are a bunch of outlaws. Hey, I don't know what people are expecting me. I mean, they've seen the Steiner family for years, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm very proud of the Steiner name and rodeo and where it's come from. And really the story now is Rocker. And he's been the most exciting part to me of the Steiner story. So I'm just happy to get to watch this and get to live it.
As far as having children, we really did want a girl and a boy. With Steely, it really was great because there was a little bit of a different side that was fun to enjoy, and Rocker was all boy.
When you name a kid, you never know what the they're gonna be like. Rocker could have been a nerd. But I mean, it's just funny, like I named him Rocker, and then all of a sudden, like, it's what he is.
The name pretty much just was written in stone who he was going to turn out to be. He is a rocker.
From the time Rocker was a little kid, I always knew he was meant for something special. Something big's gonna go down here.
Rocker, growing up, was always able to do everything easily.
When I was little, I played every sport, from football, baseball, basketball. I was on a swim team. I wrestled. I boxed, wakeboarded. I mean, I did literally everything.
Rocker, he didn't like horses. He never liked riding horses.
At the time, like when I heard cowboy, I never wanted a part of it. I don't think I ever wore a cowboy hat.
We had an old horse, and his name was Hot Rod. Rocker would say, "Don't get too close to Hot Rod, he might buck." And we're like, he's not gonna buck. He might run away with you, but he is not gonna buck. That was his big fear, that Hot Rod would buck with him.
Rocker didn't know anything about rodeos, and that's not what he grew up doing. Rocker said many times, like, I'm not a cowboy.
There's just always been something in me that I just want to be different than everybody. I never wanted to be a cowboy. It was their thing. I always had long hair. I was always wearing board shorts and flip-flops. I didn't look like a cowboy. I played sports, and I mainly gravitated towards wakeboarding. From the time I was 3 years old, wakeboarding in between my dad's legs, arms wrapped around his knees.
Rocker was the lake rat. I taught him how to barefoot water ski. And every morning, he would call me before the crack of dawn and say, "Baba, how's the water?" He'd get on his little four-wheeler or whatever he had, and he and I would go out on the boat. When he was 6, I went, "Hey, Rock, when you get a little bigger, you start driving this boat and pulling me?" And he went, "Well, can't we start now?" You know, I said, "Look, I'm gonna show you how to drive this boat." So I'd get these cushions underneath the seat. So he started pulling me barefoot. All that summer when he was 6, one day a friend of ours called Sid and said, "Hey man, I saw your dad and Rocker barefooting." And he goes, "Yeah, my dad, you know, he loves pulling Rocker around." He goes, "Well, man, it looked to me like Rocker was pulling him." I remember we were coming in one morning and the whole family was there on the dock, and it was like, holy hell, what happened? Who died? When we pulled in, they went, "Are you crazy? You're letting him pull you? He's 7 years old." And I went, "Well, he's better now than when he was 6.
When he was very young, he was having worldwide success as a wakeboarder, which is no surprise because you've got to have an aggressive attitude, you've got to have a lot of heart, and you've got to be able to take a lot of pain.
I think what wakeboarding really did for Rocker, it's really hard on your body. A lot of kids don't want to take the pounding that it takes to get good. So we knew he was really strong and tough.
He got on a wakeboard when he was like 3. Immediately he started jumping wakes and doing stuff. He pushed the envelope all the time, but he started advancing and getting better.
He went out one day and did a flip, and I was like, oh my God, he's like 8 years old and he just landed a tantrum. I was like, nobody else has got a kid like this. I told Jamie, I was like, hey, see if there's any kid wakeboard competitions. So we found nationals, and anybody can enter nationals.
I thought I was the best in the world. So we went to a wakeboard contest. The first one was Worlds. And Worlds for the first competition sounds great, right?
We went and we got absolutely demolished. I mean, like, apparently there were kids that had been doing this for a long time. On the ride home, I could tell he was down.
Kind of crying, and we were on the plane, and Dad looked over and was like,
"Hey, you want to win this deal next year?" And he said,
"Yeah, I want to come back and win the world." And he was like,
"Don't cut your hair." And I said, "We'll come back next year and we'll win this whole thing."
Dad just thinks that, you know, long hair gives you something that other people don't have. But I didn't cut my hair. We were training 4 times a day, every day.
I don't care if it was freezing outside. He'd put his dry suit on and they would go do their thing, and Rocker studied that, and that summer he learned like 5 different inverted flips. Back with a twist, front with all these things that kids were not doing.
But we went back and won the world. I won the world, I was 9, competed until I was 14. You know, I won everything. And then one day I just thought that I had everything figured out. I stopped training as much, I didn't care. I really didn't want to wakeboard. I just wasn't getting any better. You know, I would go from whenever I was 10 years old, I'd learn 2-3 new tricks a day. And then whenever I was 13, 14, I'd learn a trick a month, and it just wasn't enough. The kids that were tired of me beating them, you know, were getting better. And I stopped getting better, and I eventually just fell out of love with it and wanted to do something else. And that's when my granddad had the bright idea to ride bareback horses. It wasn't even my idea to do this, by the way. I never wanted a part of it. And then one day I just woke up and I was a bareback rider. What's funny is, like, before I even knew really what rodeo was, I asked my granddad, like, if I was built like a bull rider, and he said that I was built more like a bareback rider.
In wakeboarding, those same characteristics also equal a great bareback rider. You have got to be athletic. I mean, the highest level of an athlete. You've got to be just dirty, nasty, tough. I mean, your body has got to be able to take things physically that most people's body would just completely be torn apart by. Bareback riding is absolutely off the charts brutal. But a bareback rider was just put together different by God, in my opinion. They're tougher, stronger, they got better hinges and stronger bolts on the inside of every joint. And the muscle fiber must be incredible because pound for pound, They are the strongest athletes in any sport.
Bruce Ford, he's drawn a good one.
Bruce Ford looking for his 3rd championship of the world.
I showed Rocker some videos and films, and he said, Baba, I want to do that, and I can. And he thought immediately, when can we start? When can we do this?
Bobby said, hold that thought. Sid's driving. Phone rings. Hey, Daddy. Yeah, Rocker's going to be a bareback rider.
When my dad came up with this idea about, I think Rocker should ride bareback horses, I was like, there's no way I'm going to watch my kid do that. Ty was my first call.
So here's Ty Murray. You know his stats, Stephenville, Texas. They call him the king of the rodeo Cowboys.
Got him right back out, coming into his hand. Come on, Ty. Attaboy, keep riding.
Sid brought him to the ranch one day, kind of out of the blue, and said, hey, Rocker wants to ride bareback horses. Can you help him? I've known Rocker since he was born. I watched him with his wakeboarding and all of that, riding motorcycles and all the things that he does. And I could see how talented he was, from the get-go. He's one of those kids that just, has a lot of confidence and has a lot of ability. And then, through that confidence, he thinks he can do anything.
Ty Murray is the king of the Cowboys. From the time I was 3 years old, my mom could ask me who Ty Murray is, and I'd scream king of the Cowboys. He's a 7-time all-around champion. He rode saddle broncs, barebacks, and bulls, and his goal from a little kid was to beat Larry Mahan's record, and he did it. My first day of training, my dad took me to Ty Murray's house, put me on the bucking machine.
I got a bucking machine out in my barn, and I took him out there, and he had some kind of terrible little bareback rigging that they'd found for him somewhere, and he was 13, but a small 13. And I took him out there and put him on the bucking machine. He didn't know anything, and I just told him like a couple of things, and I could tell right off the bat that he was coachable and talented enough and tough enough and brave enough. And I told Sid right at the end of that very first day on the bucking machine, I said, I think he can go win all he wants to win. It's going to come down to how much he wants to win. I knew we were starting with a good piece of clay. He took to it like a duck to water right from the get-go.
Without Ty, Rocker might be doing something else now. Ty was so instrumental in not only working with Rocker, but working with Sid and me. He pretty much designed things.
He pretty much told me, like, we're gonna have a different plan with what I do. From the time I'm 13 to 18, we're not gonna go to any amateur rodeos.
I asked them to not start entering junior rodeos. The way I look at it now, and don't get me wrong, millions of cowboys have grown up that way. I grew up that way. You go to junior rodeos, you go to amateur rodeos, you get on what you draw. But that's almost like taking a kid that wants to ride motocross and saying, well, we're gonna draw what size jump you hit. We're gonna draw for if you hit a 1-foot jump or a 40-foot jump. And that's I feel like that's gonna set your learning back. I feel like you need to master the 1-foot jump and then move up to the 2-foot jump and then move up to the 3-foot jump and so on and so forth. And that's what I tried to do with Rocker, along with Bobby and Sid. No junior rodeos, no amateur rodeos. He just practiced on these nice horses, and they'd practice several times a week. And when they weren't practicing, he was in the gym training. And he went from being 13 to 18 doing that.
What they did was incredibly smart. For a lot of kids, the only avenue that they have is high school rodeo, right? And there can be some pretty sorry rough stock out there that they're on. He had the benefit of the relationships that his family had forged, and they put him on the best bucking horses that they could find. He got advice and lessons from some of the best bareback riders that there are. Designed a path for him that they thought would get him the best prepared to show in the PRCA.
Rocker was put in a position that was perfectly orchestrated to bring out his talent.
They thought, man, Rocker, that kid's just kind of a talent that picked it up, but it wasn't really like that. There was a lot of ups and downs that people didn't see.
I look back at old videos on the ponies and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what we were doing. We could have killed him. Yeah.
My wife has kept the videos of the wrecks, but nobody ever really saw him. I mean, he was 13 and 14 years old and getting dusted.
Horrible. I hated it. I was the worst in the world when I started, and I got as good as I could as fast as possible.
There was something about it that just clicked for him. He was able to see such improvement so fast because it's who he is. And so it was like kind of, I mean, probably addicting a little bit, how good it would feel to get that much better. And then to be able to like start to grasp and feel and think through the things, I think it was just captivating for him.
Bareback ride, if you try 100%, it's gonna go the way you want it. Unless you have a horse like Showstopper that puts you in the dirt.
From a strict media perspective, we're hearing nothing, which is as it should be.
The first time I seen him on a bareback horse was at Cheyenne. He was 15. He showed up there as an exhibition, and I knew right then that there was something special.
Here's the next generation from the Steiner family. This is Rocker Steiner. His dad Sid, his granddaddy Bobby, rodeo legends. Here's the next generation of Lucky Brand. Man, that kid's a stud.
The level of which that he was able to set in the middle of that horse and stay on that rigging at 15 was as good as I've ever seen. Such a high-level athlete, and when your dad's a world champion and your grandfather's a world champion, you too, you can see it in him. He also had that huge want to, and not only the grit, but the drive, the determination to be the best. When a Steiner sets their mind to do something, they don't want to be good, they don't want to be great, they want to be the best. And I could see that in him at 15 years old.
Him not going and competing at a young age, it just kept, it was like, he was like a horse in the starting gate that just could not wait to burst out of it.
He finally told us one time when he was going to get his permit, he said, "Baba, I feel like as a boxer, I've been sparring for 5 years." And it's the truth. You know, he was 13 when he started, he was 18. He was ready to go at that time. He was ready.
He turned 18 and immediately got his permit.
I bought my permit like 2 months before I turned 18. And so on my 18th birthday, I entered Odessa, which is a horrible first rodeo to enter, by the way. Don't do it. It's terrifying. And I got on a horse called Ghost Town, which, thinking back, I should have never done that. From the time I was, I don't know, he probably told me when I was 15 or 16 years old. Ty told me there's gonna be a time where the bareback gods really ask you if you want to do this.
Anybody that's going to rise through the ranks of being a professional rough stock rider they're going to get asked this question. You know, it can be painful, it can be scary, it can be brutal. You just got to be tough, and you got to have that guts and grit, and you got to have that desire.
I called Ty right after, and I told him, I said, I think that was the bareback gods talking to me, because I was really thinking about not doing it, and I think that got me in the right headspace of it's all or nothing. It was probably the most important ride of my entire season, because, you know, Odessa was a Houston qualifier, and you had to win to qualify to Houston. Winning Odessa set me up confidence-wise to win Denver, and Houston set me up to get into the rigging rally.
Early on in his rookie year, he draws Virgil, you know, one of the best bareback horses of all time, and set a record on him.
Rocker Steiner, the rising star with championship bloodlines, the 18-year-old rookie, and one of the most famous horses in the history of rodeo. Oh my goodness, look, that was incredible. That 18-year-old superstar just matched up with the most famous horse in the history of pro rodeo. And Rocker Steiner, look at this, big boy, 95 points!
I've been dreaming of getting on that great horse since I've been 14 years old, and I'm out of breath, and I'm just so excited. And when I found out whenever they call my name against Virgil, I knew something great was gonna happen, and it did.
I don't even know, like, how did he do that? Like, how did he all of a sudden do that? He just immediately won. I think people don't realize quite so much like what his actual age was. Like, he truly was 18 years old his entire rookie year. He could have rode at the high school finals the next summer if we wanted him to. That's where he was at.
He just showed up and never was intimidated. He made it so easy.
Casey was 92 in San Antonio. Look at this. Oh my, oh my, oh my.
I'm just a baby.
Well, you don't look like it on the back of a bucking horse. Congratulations, the bareback riding champion at Ellensburg, Rocker Steiner.
Thank you.
The first season, it was as I expected. A lot of eyebrows raised and a lot of the old school guys wishing this kid never even showed up. While at the same time, the younger generations were just eating it up. The long hair, the cocky attitude, and the daredevil lifestyle. And so you either loved him or you hated him. Not very much in between.
You cannot hurt this kid. Houston, did you like it?
My goodness, he's got the hair, he's got the style. He might have a $50,000 check here in a few minutes.
Those personalities are important to any sport because they create a reason to care. So either you love him and you're rooting for him to win it, or you can't stand him and you're rooting for him to lose. To me, when I see people that want to hate on Rocker for his length of his hair or the way he dresses, it's like, are you watching this kid? Are you watching the grit and the toughness and the talent and the fact that he rides better than anybody you've ever seen and rides way better than you ever did? Like, what are you missing here?
The politics starts when this kid's 18. And kid don't know it. He's busy throwing his head back and howling at the moon, having a wonderful time.
There's so many things that are said about him, and there's so many rumors, and you know, he rolled Granny off a cliff.
He knifed a village and, you know, and robbed orphans.
Some article came out about he had a knife and stabbed somebody.
Just freaking total nonsense. But I think a lot of them believe it. What you see is what you get. And some people don't like what they see or what they get.
He hit the scene amid blazing talent and controversy.
His rookie year, we get to Pendleton. He rides. He did great.
Here comes the hottest kid in pro rodeo bareback riding right now. When that gate cracks open, everybody come alive!
I went to Pendleton, and it was like that was like the moment where I realized I made the NFR.
It's such a huge accomplishment. It took me, you know, I don't know, 5 or 6 years of rodeoing to make the NFR, and it's all you want, and it's all that anybody rodeo wants.
I went to Pendleton, had a little bit too much fun.
Pendleton Roundup is the Mardi Gras of the West. The Pendleton Roundup is a non-stop Western party, and so Rocker very much wanted to make sure that he soaked in all of the aspects of a fabulous and fun Pendleton Roundup at the highest level. Unfortunately, even though he's Rocker Steiner, you still need to be legal age to drink in the establishment.
And there's a sign behind the bar, a big old poster sign that said, "Do not serve this kid, he is only 18, big picture of Rocker Steiner. Posters plastered all over the bar. And he's like, yeah, you know, I ignored it.
I'm Andy McAnally, owner of Max Bar and Grill. Back in 2022, I was here the night Rocker jumped off the roof. Security contacted me and said we have a gentleman under 21 in the party pit. It was Rocker Steiner. We had a good conversation with him. He left, but that was not good enough for Rocker. He really wanted to be in the party pit with all of his buddies, and he decided to find a way to crawl up the roof at Max, and his goal was to jump off the roof back into the party pit.
So when he jumped in, he wasn't accounting for how high that top level was, the roof was. And also making a big ride and you're invincible, then he just kind of underestimated Father Gravity.
We're sitting there watching TV, about 9:15, 9:20, the phone rings, and it's Rocker.
I thought maybe he had, needed a ride home from wherever they were. So I said, yeah, where you at? I'm on my way. He said, I'm outside this bar restaurant. And by the way, I think I broke both my feet. And I'm like, what?
It was traumatic. I kept hoping he was wrong. We get to Rocker, and he is not okay.
That sucked. So, to work that hard that year, and then at Pendleton, we f***ed that up. It's just like, what a f*** up, There was a lot of shit that, for an 18-year-old kid, he had to go through. Some real man shit. And then to make the national finals, and then 2 months before the NFR to just do a dumb 18-year-old kid thing and jump off a roof and demolish your feet, that was, seriously, one of the lowest lows I've ever been through.
It was really sad. It was really hard. It was really hard to watch him be hurt like that, in a sense, something that he'd worked for. He knew all the goals, everything that had been coming down to that. I felt really bad for him, especially since he did it to himself. It was an avoidable thing. It was like the worst break of a foot you could possibly have.
I can't even hardly explain how bad his feet and his ankles were. Like, it was honestly gruesome. There's a Lisfranc fracture of his left foot, which was freaking horrible. Demolished all the bones. They put plates in it, screws. The right ankle, we had to have bone chips removed.
This is middle September. The NFR is coming up the 1st of December. His season is over, but would he be ready to ride at his first NFR?
To see what he went through to get ready, f*** them all. That was our motto. You think we can't get there? Rocker's like, you think you're gonna get my back number? F*** you. It was just like, okay, let's make a plan. Let's figure out, if you want to try to do this, let's just figure out the fastest way forward. And I hired a trainer named Tim Hallmark, who trained Evander Holyfield his whole career. And
I said, yeah, I'll come to Weatherford for, 5, 6, 7 weeks and see what happens. And he was in a wheelchair, and I'm like, oh boy, But I did start off very, very conservative, which is not normally the way I do it. Make sure everything was nice and easy for the first week, just to kind of get a feel for those feet, kind of get a feel what kind of shape he's in. And I'll never forget, after about the 4th or 5th day, Rocker looked at me dead in the eyes and said, give me something hard to do. And I said, okay, home. Let's go.
My training before my first NFR was brutal, and it was not ideal. I was training out of a wheelchair for, a month.
We trained twice a day, 5 days a week.
Hold it, 1, 2.
Couldn't do anything as far as loading his feet, but I could do a lot of things on my symmetric cord. My whole methodology and philosophy and training for years is usually your best athlete. It's the guy with the best muscular symmetry to where the body's balanced out. So most of what we did was just getting his body balanced out to where it could perform at the highest level. It wasn't like, oh, we got 6 months, we got a year. We were on a time clock.
A lot of question marks on whether he would be able to perform, probably within his own mind.
So here's this kid going into his first NFR with 2, not 1, but 2 broken feet. How are you gonna do that? Is he still gonna be able to turn those toes extremely out? Who knows?
I would have never thought in my wildest dreams he could have ridden that year. So he proved many doctors and surgeons and his dad and his granddad wrong. So just to get him to the building that year, not in a wheelchair, was a big a big plus. And after that deal happened, I mean, it would have been real easy to just say, hey, you know what, like, I'm not gonna be able to do it. But I mean, what he put himself through, in my mind, you can't teach somebody that. Either they have that or they don't. And I found out he had it.
And here comes Rocker Steiner, 18 years of age, his first NFR. He's not afraid of the big moment.
And when a Steiner wants something that bad, you just can find that extra that most people don't have. Most people will be still in a wheelchair. He's getting on bucking horses, and he's spurring them. And people are realizing, even the naysayers, that tough old school cowboy crowd, they had to admit, the kid's tough.
Rocker was trying to ride the best he could. He had to wear these different boots because of his feet. They were heavy. Things just weren't going as good.
Tonight, Little Rock is going to kind of move down the arena on him. Not quite the dance partner he wanted tonight, 81 points for Rocker.
I mean, there were some mistakes in that ride, especially right at the end. Rocker Steiner comes in at 80 points, but that's a pretty important 80-point ride for Rocker.
Emotions for that first NFR were already high because of the Pendleton incident, and he'd worked really hard. Everybody's human, judges included.
To work your ass off and take yourself to hell and back to be ready to even ride at the NFR, and then crack out and make some of the rides he made in the first few rounds, and just them not wanting to give it to you.
I think that there was unfairness going on. Was Rocker riding as brilliant as he had all year? Probably not. So I think that what went down that night, it was ugly.
So what a way to start it off. The very talented rookie, Rocker Steiner.
My first year at the finals, I hadn't won a check yet. I got a horse called Dream Machine, and I was like, I'm winning the round, right? And I was 88 at Denver that year, 91 and a half at Houston.
Well, it's looking awfully good right now. Look at this paint right here. Just set up, give him a great chance to be a big scorer, and Steiner is going to really set the bar high, I'm sure. Great ride by Rocker. You know, it took a little bit for this horse to get stacked up right there. Once it happened, man, what a bareback ride.
I was 84 points and made the same ride. So 84 is not going to win a check.
The fourth round, you draw a horse that you've been 90 on twice that year, and you go out and make the same ride that you've made twice that year, and you're 84 and you're going to win nothing. Yeah, I mean, like, man, everybody's got a tipping point, you know, and I mean, you can only poke somebody so long, so you take out of it.
I was fuming, and I threw my arms up and asked the judge a simple question, and it was, what the do you want from me? Seemed like a good question to ask.
Kind of surprised he's not cashed in a round yet. He's had so much energy, 84 for him, so.
He just said it. The camera was on his face.
He didn't grin and think it and not say it. Well, he said it. I mean, we're cowboys. We're not choir boys. So, I mean, it was in a moment of frustration. It's just, it was real life.
I've seen the things that he got in trouble for, and they were no different than what I would have done, what Sid would have done, what any real cowboy, the way they would have done it.
There's always a line that even the best known, highest profile people aren't supposed to cross. And even though that he's winning a lot of people over, even with long hair and a rebel attitude, you still don't cuss a judge. That is definitely crossing the line. Even if the judge is wrong, you never go that far, and he did.
The whole world lost it. Can we just take a moment here to ground ourselves in 2022, 23, as if you haven't seen it in Major League Baseball, you haven't seen it in football, you haven't seen it in every sport known to man.
Stepping away. It's only been in my head once, and it was right after the fourth round. At the time, it seemed like a huge deal. Like, camera right on my face, as always. What the do you want from me? I got back to the hotel, and, you know, my mom was, you know, crying. My grandmother was crying. I was crying. Like, it seemed like my life was over.
I struggled that night, for sure. I don't blame him at all for saying that. It's what the people on social media said that got me. He's horrible. We're horrible. Bad parents. It just on. And it was ugly, and people were ugly. And it was crushing for so many reasons.
I, for one, told him, let's go home. They don't deserve you because you're trying so hard to better the sport and they're not giving you any credit for it.
I was like, man, I don't feel like I should do this anymore. And, you know, watching your mom and grandmother cry because, you know, something you did and what people are saying is, and we're pretty, you know, tough skin. Like, we get a lot of shit, but, like, I've never seen, you know, my family like that. And I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this, right? And that idea lasted for about an hour. And I said, this, they're not getting rid of me. And I went and got cornrows and went to the rodeo the next day.
As breaking as that night was for me, I woke up the next morning and had these shirts with Steiner and the number on it. Oh, I put that shirt on that day. And I walked out and I was like, say it to my face. Say it to my face. So I think for everybody it was a renewed moment. Like, as bad as that was, like, you don't weaken, you don't quit. And I think that whole energy changed. As much as they wanted to crush the whole deal, no, you don't get to do that to us.
He woke up the morning of the 5th round, and he placed in the 5th round and then won the 6th round.
I mean, Rocker Steiner is owning him. Great ride by Rocker. Man, oh man, he feels good about that. Look at that. He can't hardly get off without celebrating.
He rallied back, and he did it despite all the things that had gone on. He's so strong emotionally. What he does and turns off when he gets on those horses, I don't even know how. I wish we could all have that ability, but he's amazing at it, and he must shut out the noise, and he did.
Coming from a guy that considers himself an older cowboy that came from the cowboy way of life and the code of the West, Rocker's that guy now. He's been in trouble with the association for a couple of things that, you know, in my mind, rodeo and the way it came up and everything else, we were hockey players with hats and boots on. Rocker's a throwback to the old school. He doesn't like to be disrespected.
You probably have heard by now there was an incident in Reno involving an altercation involving one of the folks who was working behind the bucking chutes in Reno and one of the contestants at the Reno Rodeo. That athlete alleged to be bareback rider Rocker Steiner.
The Reno incident concerning Rocker punching one of the guys that was working for the production company.
I go to Reno, Jaco Roper, he gets on this horse and it smashes his rigging in the chute. Breaks his rigging, and Reno is like, hey, if you want to get on that horse tomorrow, we can roll it to tomorrow and you can get on it. And he's like, all right, whatever. And so the next day, we're like, let's go back to the rodeo and help Jaco. And it's like probably like 15 minutes before the rodeo, and by this time, he should be shapped up, taped up, rigging on the back of the bucking chutes, warming up, and he was sitting in the parking lot in his van. And I was like, Jaco, what are you doing? Like, you're getting on this thing right now. And he's like, I'm not getting on it. I was like, Jaco, you were just like 84 the other day, and all you have to do is be like 80 to make the short round. And I was like, you're gonna make the finals this year. He's like, all right. He's like, I'll get on it, but you know, you have to make sure I don't, you know, die in the bucket chute. And I was like, I got you. So we go behind the chutes. He's climbing over on this thing, and I tell the neck rope guy, hey, stay awake on the neck rope. This thing's gonna try to kill him. First attempt, this horse flips over. Neck rope guy cuts loose.
My horse was really bad in the box, and I guess the guy let go of the neck rope too soon. And I went and rode, and I went to celebrate, and all of a sudden there was a big ordeal going on in the back of the bucking chutes.
I told him, I was like, you gotta stay on the neck rope or whatever. And he's like, you need to calm the down. I was like, no, you need to calm the down. And he's like, you think you could whip my ass? And I was like, I know I could. And walked away down the bucking chutes, and he followed me. And I was like, this isn't good, but we'll deal with it. And I was like, you're not worth my time. And he's like, no, you think you can whip my ass? Go ahead. And he got a little too close to me, so I whacked him.
The big question marks is, how long is he going to get kicked out? I mean, a lot of people thought this might be a permanent suspension.
Looking back on it, it probably wasn't the smartest thing, but I wouldn't take it back. And it led me to a 30-day suspension in July. I found out I was suspended, and I headed to Nashville to hang out with Kid Rock. Best July of my life. There's obviously a target on my back. I think I'm the guy to beat. I think whenever, and this might just be my mentality, but whenever I walk in the locker room, I feel like everybody's just trying to beat me. And I feel like I'm the guy that everybody's trying to watch fail. So it brings a sense of confidence as well, because I just love making people eat their words. And if you want me to fail, then I'm sorry that you're going to lose. My goal for this year is I want to break the season's earnings record. That's like $260,000. Right now we're sitting at number 1. Around $170,000 right now. This time last year I think I was right at like 98. We're having a lot better season this year than we did last year, and last year was my best season.
Oh, let her loose! Rock on, Rocker! No doubt about it, boys. He's reaching for money.
Is this putting everyone else on notice that Rocker's ready to do it?
$65,000 puts me back right where I wanted to be.
Rocker's riding as good as I've ever seen him ride, every time.
This is your 3rd saddle this season. You've been winning on every horse you've been getting on.
He looks so good. He looks so fast, just more consistent.
The number 1 ranked cowboy in the world.
He's just really matured. He's learned his craft, and he's honing it in, and he's a really beautiful bareback rider.
I have no doubt whatsoever that young talent's going to win some world titles.
When I watch him right now, I feel like I've never seen anybody that rides better than him. He has that intangible thing that you can't teach, and that is to love being in front of a crowd, of having all the eyes on him, and the love of having to step up when it matters.
Steiner continues to deliver each and every time.
Whenever you look at great athletes in any sport, that's a quality that they have. You know, Michael Jordan was the guy that when all the chips were down and there was 1 second on the clock and they were down by 3, he's the one that wanted the ball.
I lost the world by $14,000 last year, so every dollar counts. Trying to win as much money as I can to never let that happen again, because it sucked.
And I think that Rocker has that same inherent quality that's super important, that you shine the brightest when it's the hardest.
This kid has been on the leading edge of everything. He has energized this sport. I've seen a lot of these young kids that are just getting their permits. They used to have the mindset of, well, you know, we got a couple of years dues to pay. Rocker jumped out there and won at 18, and he has inspired these 18-year-olds, these young guys, that you don't have dues to pay.
You all right?
You have something to prove. Go be a champion.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
He has encouraged them and empowered them to win, where before it wouldn't have been part of the package.
Go start this thing off, all right?
Rocker's given a lot of people permission to win.
Stay back! Whenever you lift with your hips, like whenever you push your hips like literally straight up, like when you get your calf in them, then your spur's gonna go right where your calf is. You know?
There's not a young bareback rider in the world that doesn't know his name. There is not a kid out there that can't wait until the day when he can give this a try that does not know Rocker Steiner's name.
Like, right, I bet it feels like you're in a blender right now and you don't know which way you're going.
As a person who is an ambassador for the cowboy culture, my main hope and one of my main goals is to create the conversations. I want people talking about rodeo. And this guy, Rocker Steiner, has been one of the absolute greatest catalysts for conversations all over cow country, and hopefully before he's done, around the world. That's what I love about Rocker Steiner.
I'm telling you, that kid's good.
When you're an 18-year-old kid and you're in the spotlight like that, you're held to a different standard. I think people sometimes forget that he's a kid growing up and learning. He's a good person that wants to go and be a great bareback rider, a world champion bareback rider, and he wants to elevate the sport. And I think he's doing that. I think that he's going to reach those goals.
There for a little bit, it felt like I didn't know how to ride bareback horses anymore, and now it's just super natural. I can just hang out with my friends, nod my head, and get paid.
A character has to be relatable, number one. Even if they're exceptional, they need to be relatable. They need to be attempting to achieve something that we understand in a way that we understand it. And what kind of character is Rocker? He's a maverick. He's the hero with a chip on his shoulder. Nobody wants to be Luke Skywalker. They want to be Han Solo. They want to have the chip on their shoulder. And he has it.
I'm so stoked. I saw the wrap for the first time the other day, and I think I jumped up and down a little.
Yo! That is so sick.
It's gonna be very fun. I don't think anybody's ever done this before. They're gonna hate it, and I'm gonna love it. I'm excited to, get to rodeos, and it's just gonna be it's pretty much just a moving billboard.
I like this side even better.
It's kind of hard to take, a camera crew and my traveling partners on the road in a 3-bed camper, so we're gonna haul a Prevost bus, show you guys what life on the road's really like.
This is the most vulnerable I've ever put myself out there. I don't let people in on my life. Nobody's ever known me, and this is the first time I've ever really showed who I am. I just got fed up with, people thinking I'm something that I'm not. This is my life. This is me.
My specialty. I think we can work with this.
What's going on?
Gonna win the world out of that thing.
I hope they like that.
See Post Malone?
Watch out!
Feel a little bit more rich. This is gonna be awesome.
Everybody's either gonna love it and they're gonna be like, this mother.